important thing is that breaks in the creative process are the thing that creates creative problems. So if I have a number of different projects going at the same time with different durations and different goals, I never have a creative break. So the habit of staying productive at all times is what solves the problem.
We're here at in northern Michigan at a restaurant right now, and pretty hungry, so we're gonna get involved. I love when they give us our food in no silverware.
I think anybody who looks at their own work and is impressed by their work has a kind of cognitive problem. I think that's counterproductive to making good work. I think one of the things that I talk to about people, or a subject matter that comes up in the studio quite a bit, is the idea of that I believe it's healthy for when you walk into your studio to be dissatisfied with everything that you've made.
What did he say?
What did he say?
What did he say?
Oh, he didn't text me back. He said, "What's the shoot for?"
And I'm working on my artist in residence lecture, so here's basically what's going on here.
Is that weird to double text again?
No, it's not. Don't think of it that way. Just, but tell him. You should tell him how much you'd pay him. Like, what would you pay him? $100 or $50?
I'm gonna go do a sparkling water shoot. This guy's not coming, but
He's not coming with you.
no, he wants to come, but he's not gonna come.
Okay. What time will you be back?
Maybe 2 hours. What's that?
Yeah, I'll show you. I think you already know where it is, then, right?
Stop it.
Describe the moment your body told you a work was finished before your mind agreed. So I'm convinced that really good work, that the work in my studio and that really good work is the result of a kind of thoroughness. It's kind of seeing the idea through to its logical end and having a patience with that. I would suggest that that what ends up happening in a work process is that we can begin to see that work is sliding away from perfection. And so many people, myself included, will let go of a work before seeing it through with a kind of thoroughness. And so it's not that my body will tell me something is done. My mind is telling me to let go of a piece before it finds its rhythm, which I think is a problem.
Oh, she's looking good.
Time for a run.
For a little run right now.
Run.
That's right.
Is he going with us?
You just shivered. Why is that?
It's freezing here.
It's September in Michigan and it's freezing.
It's so cold.
We get 5 days in one here, for real. Like, it'll be raining and then it'll be perfectly sunny and then the wind will start blowing and then it'll be like November. I think speed and fluidity are incredibly important components of making work. I think this idea of to make fluidly, almost without effort, is the result of making work consistently over time, where work just starts to flow. So this idea of making work within a daylight window.
This
Cheese plate.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's good, bro.
So the pepper jelly, the pickle, the raclette cheese, and the apple.
I don't think it gets much better than that, bro. What do you think?
No, it's incredible. It's an incredible mixture. It's the
Definitely
cheese too.
a 10,
The
bro.
quality of the cheese is incredible.
It's good.
The work of art should demand to be taken on its own terms, to be close read. Oftentimes critique in graduate school settings becomes a form of psychoanalysis where the attention is moved from the work of art to the maker. Now there's debate academically about reception theory and close reading. But if I had a bill of rights for a work of art, I would suggest that the work of art would demand that the attention be placed on the things that are available in the work of art, and that the principle of correspondence, the idea of like, are the issues that are being discussed actually part of the work? I think that that's what the work of art should demand.
Then the weather changed like crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Did you see the guys? Did you see Joe wakefoiling or windsurfing, whatever?
Today?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Out in that mess.
No way.
Swear to God.
Dude, that's awful, bro.
The thing is there's the GoPro effect when you put it on the camera. You can't tell how wild it is.
I think in an ideal learning situation, what we have is we have vast swaths of time to investigate our own work, and we're not distracted by language, by meetings, by interactions with other people.
Right.
Like it looks like nothing, but it's huge actually.
Wait, this? What are you talking about?
How rough the water was
Oh,
and
yeah,
how
yeah.
fucking windy it was out of control.
I like getting up at 5 because I feel productive. Video editing, running.
I'm staying locked in,
That's it. Just staying locked in.
working.
That's right.
If all metrics vanished, sales, comments on YouTube videos, critical acclaim, would I still make work? Yeah, 100%. I find myself in situations that have absolutely nothing to do with an audience making relentlessly. I am possessed by the idea of that I would prefer to make something on my own rather than purchase it. I am very interested in the relationship between the work of art and the artist and an audience, but that is far, far from the reason. It's really low in the hierarchy in terms of the reasons why I make work. As a matter of fact, I think that in 2025, that audiences that in a contemporary context, clicks, thumbs up, subscriber counts, those things, they're not transportable. They mean almost nothing. And so the pure love of making work is the most important component of making. And I'm absolutely convinced that if I were making work in a vacuum, I would be doing that.
I have no idea. That the oven went off for a second. I have no idea whether this is going to be any good. I hope it's all right. Let me know if it's doughy or what.
Yeah.
If it
Got back a couple days ago from up north, which you just saw, and today is my artist in residence lecture. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the main idea from it. I'm going to cut out all the crap that if you watch my channel, you'd already be familiar with. But here's the main idea. Here's the takeaway. So in my regular lecture, this box that I'm currently in is not in the presentation that I would give to the students, but normally this moves at a pretty quick clip. I would say that the 2D department at Cranbrook is not a conventional design program. Our work is situated in the conceptual overlap between art and design. This overlap defines what we make, how we structure the department, or how we structure critique in our daily practice. Now, we occupy the in-between space, the edge condition. Now, we make four things. We make traditional design, experimental design, art, contemporary art, and writing. Now, what does this overlap mean in practice? It means that the students are asked to push at the limits of design where work enters the territory of contemporary art. Now, at the same time, the students are expected to produce traditional forms of design. Traditional not in how something looks, but traditional is where the function is to move the message from the receiver to the sender, like in this work, or in this work, or in this work, or in these. Now, the experimental dimension of our studio, the students are asked to stretch the traditional design beyond recognition, where typography, layout, and composition are still in play, but the sender-receiver model is challenged, like in this piece or in this. In this type of work, we find students dismantling and subverting their training, like in this piece, which is an intentionally bad design made by a very well-trained designer. Now, the most interesting work, I think, happens at the edges of categories, where work is at the threshold between art and design. Now, design can be pushed by reimagining its function. This work questions design and art's relationship to commodity culture, and categories collapse in the department. Now, much of our work clearly overlaps with contemporary art, where work becomes installation, or overlaps with sculptural practice, or becomes performance, or becomes video, or fashion, or installation, or site-specific works. Now, the structure of the department is what makes this possible. So let's take a quick look at how the department's structured. Now, our critiques are divided into showers and critiquers. On Sunday, 72 hours in advance of critique, the shower installs work in the crit room, and by Thursday at 9 a.m., the writer writes between 1,500 and a 3,000-word essay, which is designed, typeset, and made as a zine in an edition of 20 copies. At critique, that zine is distributed, the essay is read, I provide feedback on the design and the writing, and in this cycle, the students make traditional design, they make experimental design, they make contemporary art, and they make writing. Now, at the end of the year, every essay, zine, critique, and contemporary art piece is then captured in year one in a process book, and in year two in a thesis book. Now, what does this look like in practice? Well, as I said, students make contemporary art, they write critically about those pieces, those writings are designed as publications. The students critique that art and the writing, and then all of that is captured in a process book in year one, and then in year two, in that process book is reworked into a thesis book. Now, here we see an example. We see in the background, we see a selection of zines, critical essays from last year. In the foreground is one of these essays written by Sidney Howell, which is a review of Theodore Ambrose's work. And then here we see in the background a selection of process books. In the foreground, we see a process book by Ed Ryan that contains 45,000 words of writing and his work from the year. Now let's take a quick sidebar to look at our writing and critique process in the department in depth. Now, most of you are familiar with an undergraduate critique where the professor focuses on description and critical assessment. Now, in our department, we focus on interpretation, theorization, and context, which are three different things. Now, let's take a specific look at how. Now, I teach a method for how to evaluate the works of art and design that I've developed over a 24-year period. It's called the ADSR critique method for the evaluation of works of art. It is based on a waveform model. It's based on attack, decay, sustain, release waveform model. It contends both with what critique is and what critique is not. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my work, and I'm going to try to leave you with at least one idea. What you're seeing here is my studio 2 days ago. It's a laboratory where painting collides with design. Oil studies of trees fracture into grotesque expressionist portraits, landscapes dissolve into sculptural brushstrokes, drawing and painting become prints. Now on the wall, resin-coated 3D prints masquerade as ceramics, glossy figurines that grimace back at you. Sketchbook scribbles become objects. Religious iconography split into cubist hybrids. George Washington wears a cartoon heart, and text interrupts canvases. This is the overlap that I chase, art mutating into design and design mutating back into art. Now, to understand my current work, I have to take you quickly back to the 1990s. Early in my career, I was a new media artist and designer and musician. Now this, what we see on the screen here, is an experimental computer music program.
This is an end reading.
Sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
This led me to performing in black box theaters and writing music. Writing music. Making and designing electronics that control video, to recording and performing with a band and designing and building robotic drums. It's also led to writing, directing, and producing a feature-length indie film.
You know, get my little male dance on, and economy's bad, my tips getting bad, you know, and I'm suffering, man. And you know, you could have helped us out if you would have gave us a chance.
And that ain't what he or even me planned on doing with our lives. We got dreams.
Over the course of the past 10 years, I have released 117 print editions. They're designed, printed, released, and sold by me. Now, each print is a 22 by 30 inch hand-pulled multicolor screen print. These happen monthly, and they're concurrent with the development of my media, performance, music, and YouTube channel. Let's take a closer look at a few of these. This is my portrait of David Foster Wallace. Here we see experimental typography, and this is my portrait of Billie Eilish. Now I'm going to leave you with an idea. In the book, The $12 Million Stuffed Shark, the author cites figures suggesting that 1% of self-identified artists have gallery representation. That's only 1%. The fact is that the gallery system is collapsing. Now, the biggest problem that I see in graduate schools, graduate art and design schools, is students think that their audience is the critique room, and they focus only on the aesthetic object, the aesthetic surface that we see here. But there are issues that are beyond the artwork frame, such as strategy, audience, story, reach, sales, culture. These are real and determinative issues. They determine the shape of one's career. Now, historically, artists got access to an audience via one gate, the gallery. The gallery supplied catalogs, ads, tours, sales, and arranged with magazines to provide reviews and profiles. Now, this apparatus served a tiny fraction of the artist's audience, 1%. Today, it's less than 1%. Now, it's fairly obvious to state, but the burden is flipped. The artists must build their own audience or their own platform or momentum. This is Michigan Stadium. That's 107,000 people. This is two stadiums, 214,000 people. DeSalle Auditorium, where I was lecturing during that day, holds 120 people. This is it to scale. And here is a typical Cranbrook critique room, 15 people, but a dot among Michigan Stadium's thing. Now, between the two stadiums, this is the thumbnail of my recent OnlyFans video. In 40 days, it's been seen by over 200,000 people. So the strongest advice that I can give graduate students, or students in general, is that the audience for the work is not in academia. It's not in the critique room. It's not in the lecture hall. If it is, you're cooked. I'm going to end with a 58-second video from my channel. And what you glean from this idea that I'm trying to present is that you need to start your own YouTube channel. That's a surface level reading. I'm saying something fairly obvious. We all know this in the age of social media, but that it is our responsibility to look beyond the confines of academia, the critique room, lectures, and to build audiences for our work. Give me 58 seconds and I'll tell you why the OnlyFans